Hello everybody, this is Fabi from The Next Big Rush and welcome back. Yes, I am back in the game making videos, and this marks the first of many videos that will come about not just what's going on in the sector, in the resource sector, in the junior mining sector, but specifically about companies. You guys really seem to like it when I mention specific companies that I like or don't like, and that brings on a lot of hate, but hey, I've had to deal with that for many years, so I don't care. I'm just willing to put out here the truth, what I think, my honest opinion. And so, I am just freshly back from PDAC, PDAC as the proper people would call it. And for a long time, people have been wondering, is it really worth going all the way to Toronto to go to PDAC or to go to Vancouver for the Metals Investor Forum, like the MIF or the Sprott Conference, and there are many others. There's a Cambridge House event as well that's now under the direction of Maren Katusa. There's also a couple of really good shows in the US, and so the question remains, which one would it be worth going to or not, and why? So here's what I have come to the conclusion of. This was my first ever time actually going to an event. I went to MIF by Eric Coffin and the usual gang of really top-notch newsletter writers, and also I went to PDAC immediately after. And I would absolutely positively say yes, if you are either serious about investing in the resource sector, meaning you're planning on putting 5 to 6 figures worth in the next few years into this, then you would be a fool to not go to basically any of these events. And you'll understand why which event you go to may or may not make a difference at the end of it. It really depends on what you're going for. If you already have anywhere upwards of, I don't know, 30 grand in the market, then you absolutely should go to either PDAC or MIF or the Sprott Resource Conference. Go to at least one event if you can, and go to MIF and PDAC like I just did. You do 2 events. They're very different to each other, and then you get the best of both worlds. So why is it that after, you know, umming and hawing for, I don't know, 3-4 years, I finally decided to go to an event? And how come I now think that going to events is a crucial part of actually improving your performance in your portfolio? Well, there are many reasons why a person can go to one of these events. I actually went to the MIF, and I soon realized that there were a few people there that knew me, which was great because of this YouTube channel, so thank you for those of you who reached out to me. And that was cool, but I was there to see the companies, right? I was there to see which newsletter writers would recommend which companies, what was interesting about those companies, because I know that a lot of them, such as Eric Coffin, thank you very much for everything that you have done, by the way, Eric. And he is very good at picking up stories that haven't actually completely panned out yet. So you can get in at very low prices in some of his picks. Obviously, you need to be a little bit lucky with that as well, because we never know which ones are actually going to make it. But he's a very good stock picker, and he's respected in the market, and it's for a good reason. So I went there wanting to listen about the companies, and then I noticed that a few friends of mine were there, and they weren't in the room listening to the companies. And I'm like, what are these people doing? They're all outside having coffee or drinks or whatever, and they're talking to each other. And I mean, to be fair, there were booths of companies there, so you could go and speak to the people running the booths and just ask them questions directly. But I didn't do that. I went to the formal presentation. And what I found is, yes, for my first event, going and watching the presentations is somewhat useful. But there is a point at which you have heard so many pitches by so many companies. At the end of the day, during MIF, I was utterly impressed with too many of the names. And so when you think everything is awesome, it means that you don't know enough. Let's just leave it at that. And I give credit to the newsletter writers who brought good companies. But at the same time, you know, out of 20 odd companies, if you like 19, something's off, because not every company is going to fit your investment thesis. So what the people who were there and were more experienced at these events, what they said is, you know, we just hang out here and we talk to the people and we find out a lot more than if we just sit and watch, because eventually those videos are going to be published on YouTube or on their website anyway. It's just the truth, right? And it's a great way of going about it, and that's what I did at PDAC. And so some of the benefits that you get when you go to these events is not just going there to listen to the companies, but what I found out during PDAC is that if you actually walk up to a booth of a specific company, pick any company, especially in the resource sector, and you go and ask them directly, either just give me your pitch or specific questions that you might have about that company, you're gonna get a lot more, okay? Because not everybody can fit a company in 10 minutes. That's one of the things. The other thing is that when you're hanging out by the booths, you can see who is interested in what. And I can neither confirm nor deny that a really hotshot investor that you all recognize came by one of the booths and down $500,000, just like that. Is that good information to know? Would you like to have been there hanging out at the booth when that investor came and sort of pledged $500,000 to one very small but prospective junior? I think that's probably worth the price of admission already, okay? The great thing is that these events are free. Yes, you do spend money on going there, flights and accommodation if you're not from Toronto or Vancouver or any of these other cities. But going there, meeting people, finding out what other peers of yours are doing to invest, gossip in the industry is very powerful, because sometimes you are getting, how do I say this without crossing the line? Sometimes you get information that could be considered privileged, but because it's out there, it's not privileged. So let's just put it like that. If somebody from a company says something that they're maybe not supposed to say, or it's a gray area, you're there. The other thing I found, I might have to like cut this video down because it's getting too long, is during PDAC, I walked up to all the booths, and I really didn't go to many of the events with presentations of the companies. I went to the booths. And going to the booth and talking to the geo has been the best thing I did at PDAC, for sure. It was very, very valuable, and I'll tell you why. Geos are a very, very interesting type of people. They are not promoters per se, usually, and so they are just trying to get the job done. They're trying to find, you know, the minerals that they're looking for, be it gold, copper, whatever. And because of their technical nature, they don't have sort of the PR mind that most of us think about. So when you approach a CEO, and I'm not saying there's no value in approaching a CEO, but when you approach a CEO, your pitch is going to be pretty much the same as the presentation, because the guy has been working on that and he knows how to maybe, you know, convey the story in a way that is sellable. When you talk to the geo, he is in the trenches. He is trying to figure out what, you know, the ore body looks like or whatever. And sometimes because they're not trying to convince you of anything, they're just going on about their work, they will give you their true impression of what they're trying to achieve. And so it's almost like if I were to compare geos to the rest of you know, the players or the characters in the industry, it's almost like they have less of a social filter, and so therefore they are willing to just tell you what is going on. And you will see, like, these people, they will come out and they'll say things, and then things that aren't even sometimes relevant to you know, to the story, as in let's put this on the presentation, but relevant to where they're trying to go. For instance, I talked to one of the geos that said, hey, this is why I love this project, and this is great, and we do have this problem, which he volunteered this information. We do have this problem, but look at that other company. They also have this problem. Their problem is to a worse degree than ours, and look at their market cap and look at our market cap. And so I couldn't even find a flaw in what they were trying to say, but the guy volunteered the flaw and then backed it up by comparing it to somebody else. So that kind of information you will not find on people's presentation. That is just sometimes outdated information that you get. So when you're there, go and talk to the geos, because they will volunteer the most amount of information. And once you know, the information's out, the information's out. Sometimes you just get a feeling for what they're trying to achieve. I also talked to one company specifically that I might actually give a full presentation about this company, because it's very interesting, but completely different to what I thought. So uranium company, tiny nano junior, went there, and I happened to, you know, shake hands of a seriously successful uranium exploration geo. And then he says, well, actually, no, we're not looking for the uranium, because the project that we have, the uranium's too deep. With the uranium market right now, it's just not worth it. But we have amazing properties here with some of the richest rare earths that you will see. And I'm like, oh, that changes the story, because I've been eyeing this company, looking at the price action for, I don't know, maybe 2 years, and I'm waiting to go in, but this guy's talking about rare earths. Huh, that's weird. And so I kind of like, I knew that their project was very interesting, but rare earths, what do I know about rare earths? Nothing, right? But that's a little piece of the puzzle. Okay, the information that you have at home without coming to these events is one piece of the puzzle. When you go on Cedar, it's many other pieces of the puzzle. When you go to these events, it's more pieces of the puzzle. And then I just happened to listen to a podcast. Rick Rule and Doug Casey were talking about rare earths, and they're going, hey, Doug, it pretty much says to Rick, hey, maybe you'll find a little tiny rare earth junior in a safe jurisdiction, and that will be, you know, that will go up 100-fold. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, gee, so there's this company that's known as a uranium company, but they actually have really good rare earth properties. And these guys are starting to become interested about us. So you go and you collect little pieces of the puzzle, and all of a sudden you might have a really strong new investment opportunity that you weren't even thinking about. I was not going to PDAC for rare earth. Trust me, I don't even know which of the metals are like considered rare earths, and I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce them anyway. So, should you go to these events? Absolutely, positively, yes. You should go to at least one, if you can do 2 at a time, or just go to the nearest one that you have there, you know, close to where you live. Absolutely, go. Go with an open mind. Go and ask, talk to the geos. If you can also meet people there, if you go to co.ca and you comment there and you know some of the people, you might be able to meet up once you're there and just, you know, exchange ideas. These people who go to these events know a lot of people. They know a lot of CEOs, they know a lot of promoters, they know a lot of other people that they can introduce you to and make connections that will benefit you in the long run. So if you're very serious about investing, growing your wealth, yes, go to these events. And I'm a hermit, so if I'm telling you to go, you should freaking go. All right, take care. I'll see you in the next video. Watch out for specific videos of specific companies that I either learned about or confirmed my thesis at MIF and PDAC. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.